Alright, so as most of you know, the Florida Panthers doing pretty good. As of the filming of this video, they've got the most points in the NHL. Made the playoffs last year. There's a lot of expectations. What could be wrong? And another question you might ask is, how come the fan base hasn't grown? And how come the fans that are there, they seem a little twitchy? It's almost like they're afraid to believe the team is good. I mean, they made the playoffs last year. This should be a good thing. Let's build upon that, right? Well, I give you the Florida Panthers' 3 worst seasons. Season number 3 is the 2012-2013 season. Now, we had made the playoffs the year before. Theodore was returning. This is good. We should be able to build upon what happened, right? So we start off with a lockout. So the season gets shortened to 48 games. Doesn't start till like the first or second week of January. Theodore comes in, gets hurt after 15 games. Our big off-season additions, Philippe Kuba and George Peros. It's not exactly moving the needle. And despite such powerhouses as Drew Shore and Jack Skilly, somehow we managed to finish not just in last place in the division, but last place in the entire conference with Jacob Markstrom. Yes, that Jacob Markstrom leading the way in goals against at something like 3.22, if my memory serves me correctly. Not good. Not good. So, this is just the first season of our 3, but already we're starting to see a theme. When the Panthers make the playoffs the next year, sometimes it's not good. The second worst season the Panthers have ever had might surprise some of you because you probably figured I'd make this number 1, but it's not. This is the 2016-2017 season. Let's see. The year before we had made the playoffs, didn't make it out of the first round, but what could go wrong? We've got Gerard Gallant returning, Huberdeau is becoming a star, Yager is back. Come on, this is beautiful, right? Well, that summer, a man by the name of Tom Rowe took over as general manager. Dale Talon got promoted up somehow, and Rowe decided we were going to go the analytics route. So, despite the fact we did pick up Jonathan Marchessault, nice. The big off-season addition was Keith Yandel. The subtractions to the defense were really the problem. Willie Mitchell, retired. Ryan Campbell, gone. Erica Branson, traded. Dmitry Kulikov, traded. That's 4 guys. What are we doing? That was basically the question I asked when I made my first video on this channel that year. So we went into the season, we weren't so sure what was going to happen, and then in the last preseason game, somebody chopped Jonathan Huberdeau's Achilles in half, and he missed most of the season. And at some point in the beginning of the year, we were something about even, 11-11, something like that. And our owners and general manager decided it'd be a great idea to get rid of the guy that got us to the playoffs the year before. They fired Gerard Gallant. The taxi episode happened. My Twitter blew up. And Tom Rowe took over, and the rest is history. Now, you're probably wondering, how in the hell could it be worse, Jaws? How could there be a worse season than this, huh? Very worst Florida Panther season? The 1996-1997 season. Now, for some of you, you're saying, wait a minute, 96, that rings a bell. Isn't that when they threw the rats? Isn't that when they went to the Cup and they lost to the Avalanche? What are we talking about? No, that was the 95-96 season, the year before the worst year that the Florida Panthers ever had. Now, we'll look at Wikipedia and go, wait a minute, they made the playoffs. All right, so they lost to the Rangers. But how bad could it be? Well, I'm going to let Billy Lindsay tell you. This is what Billy had to say when I asked him about the Stu Barnes and Jason Woolley for Chris Wells trade?
Yeah, well, Stu, I played junior hockey with him. I knew him really well, but he was a big part of that team. And you talk about bringing players in, but as far as chemistry, taking players out hurts more. Yeah, that hurt us individually, because we had built something in '96, and we were off to that start in '97. We were league and rolling and think, okay, well, we're building off what we did in '96. Maybe we have a chance here in '97. And honestly, that gutted our dressing room. There was a ripple effect through it. And Brian Murray, the GM at the time, he just felt that because we were so good out of the gate and had older players, that we weren't really developing as an expansion team underneath, some of our players, and felt that his thought process was that we needed to get younger and start developing. And I believe he took an opportunity away from us. I have a lot of respect for Brian. He treated me really well, but it's if you look back on that trade, I'm sure it's one of those trades you probably wouldn't do again.
And we haven't won a thing since. You see what I'm saying? That year is the year that started the whole damn slide. When we made the trade, the Panthers had the best record in the NHL. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar to somebody, huh? They had made the playoffs the year before. Hopes were high. They had the best record in the NHL. And then somebody did something stupid and decided to blow it up. Now, I don't think that's going to happen this year. If it does, you can pretty much count on my entire YouTube studio, both walls, burning down. Now, the last thing I'll say is this. Everything good must come to an end. That means everything bad must come to an end. Now, every other year the Panthers have made the playoffs, they've basically decided and found some way to throw up their Cheerios the next year. Please, could we end that streak now? Can we just continue to compete? Do I want the President's Trophy? I'm not so sure, because it's kind of jinxed. I just want home ice in the Eastern Conference Finals. Just give me that and win a round, because we ain't won a round since Stu Barnes left town. And that, my friends, is the worst season the Florida Panthers ever had.